Well, tonight's my first opportunity in quite a while to get out and do some astro. Weather has been churlish, been away for a little bit. It's now 5:45. We're not quite entering sky dark. We got a Jupiter off the trees back there. The moon's a 3-day moon, but it's back behind the hills. The goal for tonight is something very unusual. You won't be seeing a thing tonight. What I'm going to do is, while the moon is out of the picture and hopefully the sky is dark enough, I'm going to try to track down some of those 12th sub-13th magnitude galaxies at the eyepiece to be able to compare. The only problem I have is that they are rotating rapidly to the west. I may not be able to capture all of them, but it would be nice to be able, on a good dark night, to be able to see some 12th, almost 13th magnitude galaxies at the eyepiece of a 6-inch scope. And I will mount the camera as usual and relate what I'm seeing so that we can make a record. So here we go. Okay, we're going to begin with NGC 7303. The sky is probably going to get a little darker. Let me give you some data on 7303. Galaxy and Pegasus virtually overhead. However, the roof tri will be impacting the aperture in probably the next 15 minutes. It's also known as NGC 7304. It's magnitude 12.6. Kind of oblately presented 1.5 by 1.1 arc-minute spiral, with a lowercase bc, 168 million light years distant. It's at almost 31 degrees north declination and 22 and a half right ascension. I have to get it early, otherwise I will lose it. This is the same series of galaxies I have reported on earlier as part of a lunar series. Looking in the eyepiece, seeing a group of 4 stars. There's a brighter one towards the bottom at the 5 o'clock position. The 4 stars are at probably the 9 o'clock position. There's some faint stars closer to the center of the field. I did do a synchronization before beginning. There's a little bit of light coming off the camera display. I would say at best I'm getting a possible sense of it on eye movement, so not very promising. Nothing definitive here. So we'll go on to our next study. Our next study is NGC 7315, a little further to the north, almost 35 degrees. I don't see any obstruction of the aperture. It's magnitude 12.5, larger, 1.6 by 1.6, about the same magnitude as 730304. It's a spiral in the lenticular class. I do not expect to see anything here unless the sky is darkening. It's 288 million light years distant, and we're at 22 hours 35 minutes. And like I said, almost 35 degrees north in Pegasus. Putting my eye to the eyepiece at about 80x. Seeing a group of stars, 10th, 11th magnitude, off to the, from my eye position, remember, is going to rotate around as we make motion here, off to the 7:30 position in the eyepiece. I'm swimming my eye around the field, hoping that in eye movement, which adds about a magnitude to a magnitude and a half in terms of optical sensitivity, I'll be able to make something out, which then I can use averted vision to be able to pick out. There does seem to be a little luminosity towards the center, but no visible core. I would also call this as a there are some faint hints, but nope, nothing conclusive about NGC 7315 either. NGC 7320 is another galaxy in Pegasus, virtually overhead. Magnitude 12.6, larger, 2.3 by 1.4, which means this light's spread out even more. Spiral, lowercase cd, close, 38 million light years, so this is a dwarfish galaxy at plus 34 degrees almost. 22 hour, 36 minute. And looking in the eyepiece, I am seeing a nice spread of stars right near the edge of the field of view, with another group closer on. Do not expect to see anything here unless the sky darkens. There are hints of vaguish nebulosity, but I would not declare anything definitive about this study either, which is NGC 7320. NGC 7330 is a galaxy in Lyserts of the Lizard, slightly brighter, magnitude 12.2, 1.8 by 1.7 arc-minute, elliptical, 241 million light-years distant. It's at plus 38.5 degrees, right ascension 2236. And looking into the field, nice spread of stars. Nothing really in the center of the field of view for stars, so if this galaxy is there, it is in a rather massed region from the start point of view. Swimming my eye around the field of view, I am not picking up anything particular that I would declare. Oop, there's some fainter stars coming out, one of which there might be a bit of the core of the galaxy near the middle of the field of view, requiring eye movement. And when I go to a highly averted vision, I do believe there's a possibility I am seeing the core of this galaxy, which would basically be about of the 13th magnitude. So there's a possibility on this one, NGC 7330. NGC 7331 is a galaxy of Pegasus, the brightest of the night, but it's very large. Magnitude 9.5, 10.2 by 4.2 arc-minutes. Spiral with a bar, lowercase c, 46 million light-years distant, almost 34.5 degrees, and northern declination. All these studies will be near the middle of the sky. 22 hours, 37 minutes, and I've already had a view, and on aversion I can see a rather bright central core with hints of spiral arms moving off from, let's say, the maybe the 3 to the 6 o'clock position. This is a definite study, but it does take aversion, and I am making out extensions and the core, but I'm not able to. I could just possibly hold the core direct. Now, given its size, I would say the core is probably somewhere around a magnitude, maybe 11. But at least it's a view that I did not get during the lunacy. NGC 7332 is another galaxy in Pegasus. Magnitude 11.1, so quite promising, but largest, 3.8 by 1.1 arc-minute. Spiral of the lenticular class, 60 million light-years distant, but further south, plus 2347 minutes, and it is at right ascension 2237. And having already looked through the eyepiece, now keep in mind that my eyes are being affected somewhat by local light sources, I can see a brightish core like a star with some faint extensions going out in all directions. Right near the middle of the center of field of view, there are a spattering of other stars, 2 bright ones, one at the 11 and the other at the 5 o'clock position for my eyepiece, probably of the magnitude 10. Can't tell though, I am using a Lumicon deep sky filter. So 11th magnitude would appear to be quite doable this evening. Now keep in mind, sky conditions are very, very important for deep sky views, and there's already a third day moon, and I have some incidental light that's impacting my retina. NGC 7339, a galaxy in Pegasus, magnitude 12.2, but somewhat edgy on, 2.8 by 0.7 arc minutes, spiral with a bar in lowercase bc, 59 million light years distance at plus almost 24 degrees, 22 hours 37 minutes, and I would have to say that I may just be making it out on averted vision, which adds about 0.8 in terms of magnitudinal reach. But I would make no claims to this. There's a number of stars in the field towards the center. One probably 11th magnitude star, another maybe 12th magnitude at the 2 o'clock position from that, and then the galaxy slightly off to the right. It can be seen, held easily, relatively easily seen as I move my eye around the field, and on aversion I can see just make out the galaxy. So somewhere between averted vision and eye movement makes out this 12.2 magnitude, almost edgy on galaxy. So now we're getting a sense that 12th magnitude galaxies should be feasible. Okay, we just made a big leap of about 100 in the NGC catalog to NGC 7426. Galaxy in Lacerta, magnitude 12.3, 1.7 by 1.4 arc minute elliptical, 242 million light years distant. It's at plus 36 and almost a half degrees. I've yet to look in the eyepiece. I am doing so at this moment. There's the brightest star in the field towards the center. About the position that I saw the last galaxy in. I can make no declaration about this. There is that brighter star. It appears to have a faint companion, maybe separated by something like 25 or 30 arc seconds. Stars sure are beautiful though in the eyepiece, even with the nebula filter in place. Okay, when I avert, I am seeing something away from that pair of stars. It looks kind of elongate though, so this one should be more of a 1.7 by 1.4 arc minutes. It's a possible, but I'm not going to make any declarations on this NGC 7426. NGC 7457 is another galaxy in Pegasus, brightish, magnitude 11.2, but a bit large, 4 by 2.3 arc minutes. Lenticular spiral, 40 million light years distant. It's at about 30 degrees declination north, and right about 23 hours and 1 minute in terms of right ascension. And looking through the eyepiece, the central region of the field of view is pretty free of stars, except on eye movement. I can make out some faint ones. There are stars all over the field, but they're voids. If I were to claim a galaxy, however, I could be mistaken. But if I avert my vision, I'm seeing something that looks fuzzy, there, but I could not make an absolute determination, although on eye movement I can see a core and I can see something that looks like fuzzy extensions, but I'm not making any claims on this one. Magnitude 11.2, 4.2 by 2.3 arc minutes means it probably has an average surface brightness of about magnitude 13. NGC 7490 is another galaxy in Pegasus, magnitude 12.3. Face on 2.7 by 2.6 arc minutes, spiral with a lowercase bc, 281 million light years distant, plus 32 and almost a half degrees in declination. And I have to say, once again, there's stars randomly distributed throughout the field. And if I avert my vision, I can make out some stars in the position that the galaxy might be in. But I am not definitively making any declarations about this one either. But it looks like tonight, size and magnitude play a huge role. I'm sure it's sky dark now, at least as dark as it's going to get, although I can still see some bluishness in the sky. NGC 7512 is a galaxy in Pegasus, magnitude 12.6, 1.8 by 1.5 arc minute elliptical, 317 million light years distant. It's at plus 31 degrees, roughly right ascension 2312. And at best, I can possibly make out something vaguely. There's not a lot of stars near the center on eye movement, but I would not make any declarations that I'm actually seeing the galaxy, although I'm seeing some faint stars on averted vision towards the center of the field. NGC 7514 is a galaxy in Pegasus, magnitude 12.5, smaller than most, 1.4 by 0.9 arc minutes, spiral lowercase bc, 222 million light years distance at plus almost 35 degrees. We're not seeing any blockage of the aperture, and the view is not definitive on this one either. Faint stars popping out on aversion towards the center of the field of view where you might expect to see it. And nothing that smacks of faint fuzzy. Ooh, maybe. Nah, I'm not making any declaration on this one either. NGC 7539. Another one of those galaxies, probably 12th magnitude. 75, 39, and putting the value now. I got out of my routine here a little bit. Alright, because it's cold, my battery in the camera is running a little short. I'm down to 2 bars now, so I have to be careful about this. This will be the only experiment I do with this unless I get a spectacular night later on in the year. NGC 7539 is a galaxy in Pegasus, 12.5 magnitude, 1.5 by 1.2 arc minutes, lenticular spiral, 275 million light years, plus 23, almost 24 degrees in declination. I'm going to have another look. Field of view, and I am seeing nothing. I could make any declaration except maybe something on eye movement, which is not definitive at all. Have a look for NGC 7550. Not seeing anything initially. It's a galaxy in Pegasus, magnitude 12.2, 1.4 by 1.2 arc minutes, spiral lenticular class, 234 million light years distant, but a little further south, plus 19 degrees in declination. There are a few stars in the field of view, but nothing towards the center. I did do my star alignments before that. Oh, there's something on eye movement. Possibly. Oh yeah. Alright, on eye movement I'm seeing something faint towards the center of the field. Can't be clear about that, but it could very well be the core of the galaxy. Magnitude 12.2 certainly puts that in the range. We're now hopping into Andromeda for Galaxy NGC 7640. Night is 11.3, but very large, 10 by 1.9 arc minutes, probably a beauty in a larger scope. It's a spiral with a bar, lowercase bc, a mere 29 million light years distant. It's at almost 41 degrees declination. I don't think, but it's possible I could, I don't think I'm getting any aperture block, but it is a possibility. I'm about to look through the eyepiece now. And sprinkling of stars towards the middle of the field of view, and a vague sense of nebulosity off to the left a little bit, with a star-like core extending left and right in the field. There's a possibility that I'm seeing this one on aversion, but there's other stars in the region of the galaxy, which complicate determining whether it's a galaxy or not. But it's a possible. That's what we'll declare it as, a possible. NGC 7660. I put that hand controller in the wrong position, even though it's on green light. Okay, masking off. This is a fairly faint galaxy. I'll give you the data in a moment. I am seeing a star off to the 2 o'clock position, but I can't tell whether it's a core or a star. It can be a bit of a problem. There is something faint off to the 7 o'clock position. Once again, this is kind of a voided position. There are stars in the perimeter, but there's nothing really showing up towards the center except faint ones when I move my eye around the field. I cannot make any definitive declaration on this, and I also notice the hand controller looks bluish when it's at an angle, so it interrupts my ability for dark sensitivity, which I think is a factor tonight, as well as there being a lot of water vapor in the air. NGC 7660, Galaxy and Pegasus, 12.7 magnitude, 1.4 by 1.1. Elliptical galaxy, 260 million light years distant, plus 27 degrees, and right ascension 23 hours, 25 minutes, and 48 seconds. There's always a possibility the scope was not aligning properly, so I'm going to check right now with Messier 32, the satellite galaxy of the great Andromeda. Messier 31, I've got a good view of the core. I'm seeing luminosity around it on my direct vision. Core pops out like a star-like point when I avert my vision slightly to the right, and the aura of bright nebulosity is quite apparent. The acid test now will be what the view of Messier 110 is. I've got 1 bar left on the camera. This will be our Carpe Noctem view, Messier 110. Looking in the eyepiece, Messier 110 is a fairly large, faint satellite galaxy. There's no sense of a core. I see nebulosity extending out several arc minutes. It's slightly off to the right, just in the same position as Messier 32, maybe displaced by about 4 arc minutes. To the right side of the field, I can hold the nebulosity on direct vision, but I would not claim that to be a particularly good view of Messier 110. It looks like one of those more remote satellite galaxies. So this being my last attempt for quite a while to do eyepiece astronomy, I'm going to say it's kind of gone bust. I expected to easily be able to make out 12th magnitude cores with some faint extensions without having to use either averted vision or certainly not eye movement to enhance receptivity. There is some light in my environment from this camera, for instance. The viewing screen is viewing down. I did change the hand controller to nighttime mode, but I have to be very careful about its viewing angle because it suddenly turns like a blue light, which affects light sensitivity. There is light from local amber street lights in the observatory itself. The sky itself has a sense of blueness about it. It's a 3-day moon, so not the best of conditions. I'm at 3,000 feet up. I would say seeing conditions are probably no better than magnitude 4.5, although I do have to get a look at whether or not I can make out any of the Milky Way at this point, which I will report after I close out the camera and put everything away for the evening. Well, yes, back in the house. To be clear, I could see the Milky Way through Cygnus with some hints of the dark lanes, so I would say we probably had a 4.5 to 5.0 evening. And I've got to start getting back into the music business here, so now we're going to be entering into the lunar cycle again, so I'm going to shift gears. We've got lots of interests and lots of challenges to pursue.